What's up, witches? It's me, Luna. I am here and you are there. And this is going to be probably a really odd ramble of a video, but I have to bust through and just do anything, something, anything. I'm trying to plan, and of course, the longer I go without doing a video, the more pressure is on. So I am throwing plans out the window. I'll give you a little bit of a catch up on what's happening with us. My husband is okay. Um, Cliff had another coronary event, like right as we were finally going, oh, we're not actively sick anymore from the 2-week virus that we had. And he's one of the stents that he had placed after his first heart attack 3 years ago has blocked, but his heart is already rerouting. His heart is already building new blood vessels around it. So they were able to just add some meds to keep blood flowing. You know, there's an alternate plan if something goes south, but for now, he is being maintained with meds, and it's a miracle. It's fucking miraculous what modern medicine does, what science has done for us. So I'm really, really grateful for that. It's, you know what kind of month it's been. It's one of those months where, like Pema Chodron says, life nails you. When life nails you. And all the bullshit just kind of, finally, you see it in perspective. But a lot of the time, you know, we do reading and study and spiritual practice and stuff. And a lot of the time, what it's telling us is that these things that seem so huge, these fears that seem so huge, really aren't. You know, it's all small stuff. But is it? Is it really? Sometimes it's big stuff. And we are in the place of big stuff right now. And I don't have answers. I don't know what's going to happen. None of us do. So we are in the most uncomfortable place that we can be in. We are in the place that has driven humanity to develop all kinds of spiritual practices. It's that place of uncertainty, which is, you know, the truth of our being every second of every day. But we can usually have the luxury of certainty. And then it gets yanked away from us, and we are nailed with the fact that we don't ever really know what's coming next. So just, I guess the small bit of comfort is this is no different than where you spend every minute of every other day. It's just you're unaware of it. You can remain blissfully ignorant. So anyway, I'm now to kind of go back to something normal, because this is me trying to bust through, you know, the doldrums and the obstacles of just being stuck in this, stuck in fear, anxiety, depression. Where are my neurodivergents at? Where are my depressives at? We're all right here, aren't we? And this almighty push from me today is also to get my ass back into something that brings me joy. So here we are. And okay, so let's go into other stories. So I got my Patreon money. Thank you very much to all my patrons. I would bring it, it'll take me too long to list you all, but there's only like 6 of you. But to get there and find the list is, so anyway, thank you to my patrons. And the other morning I spent 2 hours going through my wish list to figure out which deck I wanted to buy. And there was a deck that I was thinking about booting off the list. It's from Andrews McNeil, and their card stock is just like so unworkable, called Messages from Her. And I decided to go ahead and order it because as I'm looking through my list, I noticed that the deck, rather than selling for $20, $19, whatever it was selling for $3.29. And I went, what the hell? And I went to the page and I looked at it and I saw the publisher listed. Now, I learned several years ago about counterfeit decks on Amazon. The first one that I bought was from a third-party seller. And I bought it because it was a deck that I wanted, and it was like, oh my God, here's somebody that has it so cheap. And then I did the unboxing and somebody said, that's counterfeit. And then I learned how to recognize fake decks and that they're everywhere. There is a video on how to spot a knockoff deck. So if you want to search that on my channel, I'll give you all the details, and I'll give you some in a minute. But I got the package and I open it up and there's this deck and it's like, well, hey, yeah, that's, legit copy. It retails for $26.99 in the US, $3 and something. Hell yeah. And then I'm like, where's my other deck? US Games, Oracle of Mystical Moments. Look at this. Now, the first thing we notice is the size. This is not what US Games Oracle decks look like. The second thing we notice is that, sorry, it's so bright, but there's a QR code on the back. That means there's no book with this. That is a dead giveaway to a knockoff deck. And we see tarotdeck.top. And that's where they've scanned in all these books and they give you a QR code, and nowhere on here. We do have Katrine Wells Stein, the author's name. Usually with bootlegs, they don't even put an author's name. But what you won't see is US Games on here anywhere. Now, I thought, oh shit, it was me not being vigilant, and I went back to the page that I bought it from, which lists US Games. It is legit. It is through Amazon. This was filled by Amazon, not a third-party seller. So I clicked return and just said, hey, I ordered a deck by US Games and you sent me a knockoff. And I told them why it's a knockoff and said, I want a real deck, please, like I paid for. I paid like $19 for this. Usually when you buy knockoffs from a third-party seller, they are uber cheap. And when you find yourself saying it's too good to be true, it usually is, because it's a knockoff. So know that usually they don't list a publisher. Sometimes they don't even list an author, but it will not say, it comes with a book. This page said it came with a book. It's from US Games, and they sent me a fucking knockoff. So let's take a look at these two. So I said, give me a real one this time. Yesterday is when I received this and hit return, and I just got this on my porch. So they were Johnny on the spot of, hey, let's send her something that's not a copyright infringement. Took me a while to find my ripper. So let's do another little comparison. Now, this obviously is a US Games deck. It's plastic. This did not have any plastic on it. It's just got a sticker covering, the front of the box, which, that's kind of bullshit too. So, first thing, size. Second thing, it says US Games. It has a copyright date. It has their code, identifying code on it, and it's a sturdy box, right? All right, let's go in. And so today I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to write a review and say, yeah, beware. Amazon is now putting out counterfeit decks. And you'll see too, when you get the cards, they're not in order. So I'm thinking somebody else already sent this back and they put it back in circulation. What the fuck? Amazon. Oh, billionaires, help us, help us, help us. All right, I think I'm going to be done bitching. Let's just look at, compare the cards and stock and stuff, and then I'll actually unbox the deck. So. All right. So we see, let me find this particular card because it's just good to compare one to one because sometimes colors are off and all that crap. All right. So you can see there is a difference in color. This one's more yellowy. Obvious difference in size. Cardstock feels similar. This one's a little thinner, but fake. And they wanted full price for it. Off you go. All right. Let's put the deck there and go to the book. Oracle of Mystical Moments. Now this is the same author of Dreamkeeper's Tarot. All right, about Katrine Wells Stein. In my art, I blur the lines between imagination and reality while exploring womanhood in many different ways. I like to give my images a vintage, ethereal feel. During the creative process, I scan old paintings, photographs, and illustrations, making sure they're in the public domain. I work digitally and transform the scans by first tearing them apart. They're like puzzle pieces that I work together until they reveal a whole new meaning and tell an unknown story. I started to create digital images when my children were 2 and 4 years old. At that time, I was desperate to do something creative. The images helped me to be aware of my feelings and worries. I did not plan to make them public. They were very personal, private images. Then I created Christmas cards and sent them to my family and friends. I was surprised by the positive reactions I got. After this encouragement, I became more courageous and started to post my images online. Now I feel overwhelmed by all the positive feedback I've received. It is my motivation to go on with my work. I feel very blessed to be able to reach so many people's hearts and souls. Originally from Germany, I currently live with my family in Seoul, South Korea. We moved here in the summer of 2016 due to my husband's work. Previously, we lived in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is a blessing to be able to see many parts of Asia. It has widened my horizons, and I'm sure it also has influenced my artwork. And I lied. She is not the artist of the Dreamkeeper's Tarot. I think I made that assumption because on the page it showed these are frequently bought together, and there is a Tarot of Mystical Moments as well. But she is not the author of Dreamkeepers. That is Liz Houston. Okay. The introduction. Thank you, dear friend, for choosing the Oracle of Mystical Moments and taking it home with you. I hope it will enrich your everyday life. These 52 cards tell all kinds of stories about feminine wisdom, nature, and life. For each one, you will find my interpretations, yet you should allow the cards to help you discover your own deeper feelings and hidden thoughts. Enjoy the stories and let your imagination go on a wonderful journey. The Oracle of Mystical Moments deck can be used in a daily routine, like having your special moment each day. I like to use the cards every morning. I pick one as a theme for the day. There are no strict rules to use the Oracle deck. Just try and read it in a way you like best. Begin by getting in a relaxed mood by listening to calm music, lighting a candle, or preparing a hot cup of tea. Riffle the cards and lay the deck face down in front of you. Before picking a card, think about a question you have in mind or a certain mood you're in. Take a card and look at the story you see. Let your imagination and intuition wander. Before reading my explanation, think about your feelings while observing the card. There's no mystery behind it. It is your own subconscious speaking to you. Like that's not mysterious. And then we're straight into the cards, and we just have the title, we have keywords, and we have a paragraph. And c'est tout. C'est tout. That's all. Let's go to the cards. So we have a very subtle back. It's just a low contrast mandala or a medallion and line drawing around it. And U.S. games at both ends, obviously, they're non-directional. There was nothing mentioned about reverses. So this is an easy, intuitive introduction. It's kind of nice when you get a deck where it's not like, do this, 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 and this, and there's just so much. So this strips it down, which is right about where my brain is right now. So our first card is Day and Night, and we see this young woman with that kind of squash blossom hair. And she's holding a sun, and there's the moon. Then we see Liberty, and you can see each one has its own palette, its own colors. I'm glad that we have numbered cards, and yeah, numbered so we don't have to worry about whether they're in alphabetical order or not, but simple, again, simplicity. And here we have Liberty, and you see her with her hair trailing out behind, moons and clouds and stars hanging from her hair, and then we've got a bird in a cage. She's holding one of these stars, and here's this bird about to come out of the cage. Very interesting image. Sleeping Beauty's dream. And we've got this old looking, I want to say maison, mansion like home, castle, whatever it is, surrounded by all of these twisting, twining vines and roots and roses. I don't see thorns, but these clearly are roses. And she's holding a bird. So what is Sleeping Beauty's dream? And I mean, if you go back to Sleeping Beauty, when everybody falls asleep, the castle gets surrounded by all these briars and thorns that the prince then has to fight his way through. Wow. Moon dance. Going along a tightrope with a balloon, a moon balloon. And again, birds. Wow, I mean, it's like precarious. She's on one toe, but it also looks like she's about to float off, that moon could just lift her up. Bloom. So interesting. Look at the braids. I'd love to watch a process, like the process from beginning to end of one of these cards. Listen. Because you can see, like, she probably took those arms from somebody else, and flowers. Listen, and look, she's down under the grass. She's down under the earth, so you get that idea of something gestating, ruminating, and what it's saying is listen to what's up here and calling you, like, to break through. Fascinating. Pure nature. Look at that rose. These are fascinating. I can't wait to read. Red garden. They're really ambiguous. And so these are going to be really deeply subconscious connections that you're making, because it's not like, oh, well, there's a this and there's a that, and these direct one-to-one easily understandable symbols. So most of them have, flowers and birds or butterflies. So we're seeing a lot of the same symbols. So it is going to be fascinating. Look at that caterpillar and a butterfly. Rose garden, flower spirit, okay. Queen bee. All is connected. Look at, there's a spider here connecting all of these leaves that have fallen. Morning dew girl. Clearly an Asian looking woman, this beautiful flower dripping. Look at, she's holding a leaf like a basket that's full of dew, and a bird. So again, flowers and birds. The art of seduction. That's pretty clear. Elixir of life. Again, a woman and flowers. Eva. How interesting. So what's the clue here? She's got snakes, so I think we're definitely referencing Eve, because there's a serpent, there's a snake that's twined around her neck. And then we get these very serpenty looking things hanging down from her gown, I guess, which is lotusy. Very, very interesting. Miss Sunshine. Well, and we've got this, like the Taj Mahal, upside down. These are just fascinating. Treasured memories. And you know, I've been looking at the Tarot of Mystical Moments for years now, and I would like to see what she does with images that I'm already familiar with, you know. Treasured memories. The journey. Look at this little deer coming out from under her gown. Huh. Under my umbrella. That's a very different one. Tiny triumphs. They're really surrealist in a lot of ways. Like a bird. Look at the wing. The gift. Wow. Mermaid's love. Again, very interesting images, but they're not really, I feel like I'd have to go really deep to pull out some meaning intuitively. Protective nest. So she's got this nest in her hair. Look at the gown made of these huge feathers, and there's an egg in there too. Transformation. Pretty clear symbol there. The gardener. And her clothing is like a huge building with tons of windows. Wow. Can you hear me? Immediately I think of, you know, holding a shell up to your ear in order to hear the ocean. The perfect key. White rose of hope. So these, you know, really enigmatic is one of the words I'm looking for here. You know, here we get white rose of hope. So we get that idea of hope. But the other ones are not, you know, indicative at all. Here's Lorelei. She's holding the ship's anchor. Touch the sky. And how interesting that she's above the sky. Weaving flowers. Abracadabra. Wow. A long way home. House of flowers. No rain today. I see a little girl in a bee costume dancing. Lullaby. My home is my castle. And the castle is her. Oh, sunny day. Wow. Home in the sky. Change of seasons. Secrets. I like that. I like the moon with the keyhole. You know, unlocking the unconscious. Stranded. Wow. New directions. Spreading seeds. Night ride. My dear friend. They really are beautiful. Butterfly garden. I'm already thinking of a friend of mine that I know would love these images. Hotkeys on trees. The observer. I mean, some are like, yeah, there's like some archetypal meaning here, but the other ones are just so enigmatic. To the moon and back. And Sea Witch. Okay, you know, I realize I did not read the back of the box. Oracle of Mystical Moments deck and book set. Visionary collage artist Katrine Wells Stein intermixes unexpected elements of nature and imagination, creating a sumptuous world where flower spirits and floating castles happily coexist. Each of the 52 oracle cards captures a magical moment full of delightful surprises and vintage charm. Powerful messages in the 44-page guidebook lead you into discoveries of insight that inspire new ways of looking at life. So, all right. Let's give her a blessing, shall we? I just want to acknowledge the struggle, because I'm sitting here feeling it, just getting through a video. And so I want to validate that for you too, that we are all in this struggle. And it's really difficult to be in a struggle when you don't know what you're struggling to do. So let's start with some sacred sage, sacred smoke. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. And I offer this to you as well. You know that. I hope I'm not talking too quiet. I can tell I'm getting more quiet as I go along here, so I'll try not to do that. And by water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole. By the sound of the bell, maybe a little more. May the spirit within you awaken. Guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for never, ever, ever deserting me, no matter how shitty I feel. I offer gratitude to Katrine Wells Stein, to my patrons, and to all of my viewers. And yeah, it's real. The struggle is real, and I know you're there. So let's just be there together, okay? And I offer my guides and guardians fresh water, and I offer you the fire of Azrael to bring forth the spirit of divination in this deck. As I hear the owl going off downstairs, we have a singing bird clock. I don't know if you remember those from like back in the early 2000s, when my kids were little and we were homeschooling. And yes, I bought a frickin' singing bird clock, and we've had it since then. And I love it. You know, people have made fun, and it's like, why are you making fun? I love birds, and it's great to hear them go off. The only one I know is the owl at noon. Oh, and Canada Goose at 6. So I don't have any trepidation about shuffling these. You see, they fit quite easily. It is typical US Games cardstock, and there we go. Wonderful. Let's give it several riffles, eh? Let's ask, what do we need to know right now? What do we need? Help, help, help. And I have to tell you guys, I haven't been doing many readings. Any readings I've been doing have been about our up-close personal life, about my husband. And, I asked if the medication was going to be able to solve his problem and keep him healthy, and I got an emphatic yes on that. And it's like, the rest of the questions are Such huge questions of collective karma. Collective karma. That, no wonder all the predictive readers are having a tough time. Because you can't. Okay, so. Oh, I saw that one levitate. Did you see that? We're going to take you. The perfect key. I'm glad this card came out because it caught my attention. It was one of the ones on the page for purchasing the deck, and it did catch my attention. Happiness, encouragement, unlock feelings. So happiness and encouragement. She has kind of this pensive look. This card shows a woman holding a key in one hand and a cage with a heart in it in the other. There's a bird sitting on the woman's shoulder, encouraging her to try different keys with his mouth. Yet the woman has already found the perfect fitting key. She can open the cage and open her heart. Sometimes life is only a search for the right key. There are so many things that are hard for us to approach. We can have trouble accessing our own feelings. Thanks to friends and family, there are people who can help us find the lost keys to our personal happiness. Okay, this is like boing right between the eyes for me because I feel grief. I have such grief happening inside me over our precious democracy, our precious country, the dream of America, the dream of the United States. And I feel this grief on a daily basis, and I really need to cry, and I haven't been able to. Just haven't been able to. So I think I'm going to watch Disney's Encanto because, as many Disney movies as I have cried at, that is one, I've only seen it once, and that is one that had me like struggling, ugly crying at the end. Just whoo. And I think that's where I need to go because I got to get rid of this. All right, I'm going to take the rest off the top here. House of Flowers. Miss Sunshine. All right, let's just do these three first. So 36 is House of Flowers. And we see this, this house, this home, very solid, 4-square building, but it's opening up in the middle and there's all these flowers blooming. Power of nature, joy of life, diversity, and beauty. Out of this small white house on the top of a hill bursts flowers, full of life and rich in colors. It is like an explosion. The two ladies walking by look tiny in comparison to the giant falling leaves. They enjoy the enormity of nature, the power of its diversity. But even a single bloom in a vase can transform a space, each petal a world unto itself and a wonder of creation. This card signals love for life in this moment full of energy, beauty, and joy. Okay. Very, very interesting. The meanings are pretty simple, and there's a lot of room between the meanings that she's offering us and what we might be able to find intuitively through the image. Okay, Miss Sunshine. All of these are talking about so far, or both of these, I should say, finding happiness, unlocking, letting emotions flow, finding beauty in something that seems unnatural, finding nature. Miss Sunshine, sun, light, energy, courage, clarity. A woman rises high into the sky. Her hair shines bright like the sun. Her skirt looks like a huge building. She comes from a darker place. Beneath her lies gloom and shadows. But her light is glowing. She is like the energy of life and the sun of the universe. She focuses her intentions on the positive and is able to gain clarity. She leaves the night and fears behind. And it does look like, see these things coming up? It looks like there's a balloon or there's something that is lifting her up. And look at the, the bright light around her head. We can think like fire and sunlight. And what does a fire do in a balloon? It creates hot air that allows it to rise. So if we just let our light shine, do something to open our mind and lighten our thoughts, it can lift us out of darkness. One thing I did this morning was grab my Tara deck, and I have been doing, when I'm able to, which is not often, doing some Tara practice. And please forgive yourself if you have been completely unable to do your spiritual practice. Please forgive yourself. You're doing your best. So this morning I spent a long time, and the red Tara of Swift and Courageous Tara, Swift Protectress, came, and I found a video that had her longer mantra 108 times, and I listened to that and I chanted it, and it is something that can lighten my brain up. I like saying, having my Mercury in Virgo, my mind just I analyze, and it goes over and over and over. Patterns, it's all about patterns. And so I look at mantra as giving my brain a different sock to chew on rather than the same old one, and one that has vibration and frequency that can open things up. Okay, so we are looking for the key to unlock what is locked away inside of us, whether that's grief, whether that's anger, whether that's joy, whether that's our own creativity. We're looking for that perfect key to unlock. And, we can find the perfect key in every single moment. It just depends on where we look. And then we are looking to discover the natural beauty, to break out of our box and let the wonder of nature overawe us, the bigness of nature. And then knowing that the light that we carry inside of us can actually, when we let that light shine, when we find something to open up and let that light out, it can lift us up. We have bloom and under my umbrella. And you can see we got a great shuffle here. 29, 36, 17, 5, 20. Nice randomization. That makes me happy. Okay. Bloom. Oof, and I've got just my head is like, woo, I think it's from the mantra. So bloom, self-confidence, femininity, individual fulfillment. A woman gazes into your eyes with pride and self-confidence. She knows what she wants, and this certainty blooms out of her being like a bountiful garden. Her hair is thick like the branches of trees, reaching out with controlled abandonment. Now, see, that would just be abandon there. Abandonment is just something different than abandon. Wild abandon just means you let yourself go. Abandonment means somebody leaves. The power of nature surrounds her, flowing both into her and out from her. What would it be like to feel this connected and confident? What could you accomplish? Your inner strength blossoms into future achievements. So, talking about what's inside us and letting it out, letting it grow, letting it blossom. Because we are a natural being as well, and we follow the cycles of nature. So there's something in you now that is ready to come out, that is ready to bloom and to blossom. And that might be just the thing that you need to focus on to pull you away from the chaos of the external. The place where lies all those feelings of powerlessness and helplessness and inadequacy. When we can focus on what's inside of us ready to bloom, what is truly ours, what we truly have access to, it can really help. Okay, and then we have under my umbrella. Compassion, care, friendship, and protection. So the umbrella there is a symbol of protection. A man is perched on the back of a giant parrot. He is holding an umbrella which keeps the bird dry from the rain. This man is happy to help. He does not fear climbing up the big bird or a possible nip from her sharp beak. He is optimistic that his small umbrella is good enough to protect the bird from the weather. He is a true friend, aware of the power of a helping touch or smile to brighten someone's day. In turn, he is rewarded with a burst of color in his own life. Okay, so we can nurture that within us and, bring it out in compassion and look at how what we have innately inside of us can help others, can hold up just the smallest umbrella. And there's a reminder there that we might not be able to solve all the problems of the world, but if we look closely, or if we look at our close environment, surely we can find something or someone that we can help, that we can protect. Wow. And look what we get. The cover. Weaving Flowers is our final. Creator, art of the universe, integration. I love the word integration. I really do. And particularly now, if you're feeling fragmented, if you're feeling like you're flying into pieces, integration. Well, let's read. Here we see a woman gathering the delicate petals of blossoms and making them into flowers. It seems like she's weaving them together, bringing a greater whole into being. She's calm and concentrated on her work. This woman is a creator. She draws from the petals falling from the sky and growing from earth. Inspiration is all around. Gather it up to create a new whole. So it talks about taking all these fragments that are around us and reintegrating. So we can look at these petals as, something as mundane as, I'm looking at it right now as pick up my beading needles, pick up my needles and my beads and take all these little different pieces and bring them together into a whole. And these petals can talk about all of those experiences of ours that we have, that we've lived through, that we have maybe pushed aside or minimized or discounted, or they were things that hurt us and we think that's worthless. I'm going to split it off and let it go. But all of these things are part of you. And, it is true that when we, rather than working with a negative experience, a trauma, rather than going to it, processing, grieving, reclaiming all of those things, we can just split that part off and then we fragment. And whatever energies are surrounding that event become unavailable to us, become, estranged. We become estranged from our own self. So integration is about finding those. And I'm thinking of, there's a dance of universal peace called Kwanjan Bosai, and it is Kuan Yin, goddess of compassion, in the Korean form Kwanzeon. And there's a place where you are walking around and you hold your hand like a cup at your heart, and you take out of that cup petals and you're putting them into the center. So we're walking in a circle and we imagine in the middle is all of creation, is the earth and all of its creatures. And what we are doing is dipping into our wisdom heart and taking out, and you can imagine they are jewels, taking out our precious treasures, our jewels. What are these jewels? And they can be seen as petals. They are all of our life's experiences that are the origin of our wisdom. You have absolutely valid wisdom inside of you, and it is rooted inside all of your experiences, in your stories, in your traumas. when you go through to heal those, when you work with them again and again over the years as they spiral around, from the initial trauma to years later, okay, now I understand this part of it. Okay, now I understand this. It's going to cycle around and bring us more and more and more wisdom. So you can see yourself as the goddess of compassion offering these wisdom petals, offering these jewels. And along with the wisdom comes compassion. And, that is part of the wisdom, is that I'm not the only one that has suffered this, and it sucks for everybody that has to suffer it. So, part of your wisdom is compassion, born out of these traumas. So we open our hearts, and when we open our hearts, we can find those little lost fragmented pieces and begin to weave them together again into something that can bloom, something that can allow us to bring our protection in our close-up environment to someone that may need it. Our sphere of influence is close in right now. Although keep making your calls to your senators and representatives. Absolutely. You can reach out in that way. And close in is where your real power lies. And then we can really break out of this square, hard dwelling place and allow these big things to bloom, allow the light to come out of us and elevate us. Wow. Fascinating reading. It's a wonderful read. It's subtle. It is definitely subtle, and it definitely takes you into that liminal place, between conscious and unconscious. But as you read what, the symbolism is that she brings, it becomes very clear and easy to understand, even though, my brain is just not, not lately. But I really do like this deck, and I really do want the Tarot of Mystical Moments. Yeah, I think her images are lovely. They feel very integrated, even though, she's taking elements from a lot of different pictures and things and putting them together. She does it in such a way that really feels like they're cohesive and integrated. What do you guys think? Huh? It's so hard to bring myself to the place of doing a video when there's just, the longer I stay away from it, because I feel like I have so much explaining to do and catching up to do, and that I have to disabuse myself of that and just come here to my happy place with you. I would love to do a live stream soon. I was determined to do one last night, and I was still coughing too much. So I'll get there at some point. And until I do, I know you're there. You know I'm here. Shit tons of videos for you to look through if you want to, I'm sure you haven't watched all, 800 and some videos that I have. And we will be together soon. Keep the hope, keep the faith, keep making phone calls, keep helping where you can. And till I see you next time, thanks especially to my patrons. This is Luna. Blessed be.